My name is Katrina, and this is Sam. I volunteer as an undersaddle schooler and equine bodyworker at Healing Reins, an equine-assisted, path-certified organization in Bend, Oregon. In 2022, Sam was one of the horses assigned to me to school. Sam is a Clydesdale. Yup, like the Budweiser horses. He has a broad white blaze down his big face and large curved lips that look like he's smiling a little, in on a joke only he can understand. Once a week, I got to work with Sam. And once a week, my ego was brought very sharply into focus. My childhood was spent with horses. There was a lot of pain and damage during those years, and I walked away from anything to do with horses when I was 18. In 2021, a book brought me back after a 38-year hiatus, and almost before I knew it, I was again working with the beings I love so dearly. When I started working with Sam, I was also beginning the journey to become a Masterson Method certified practitioner. A Masterson friend recommended a podcast by a horse trainer named Warwick Schiller. I started listening and watching his videos, and I started crying. Becoming truly attuned with horses was exactly what I dreamed of as a kid, and I rarely found it at that time, mostly due to the violence and the domination of the training methods used around me. The Schiller attunement videos and the Journey On podcast and later Warwick's book felt like this miraculous path to the connection I have always wanted with equines. And coincidentally, that sort of attunement and presence was also exactly what I needed to be successful in my Masterson Method practice. I called Sam my puzzle horse because it was a real puzzle to me to figure out how to reach him. His reputation at the barn was that he was sort of slow and not real bright. He was often called a lazy horse. He was friendly enough, if you didn't ask too much of him, but he used his bulk to walk over the people. Manners were not Sam's strong suit. Because I was on Warwick's path towards attunement between horse and human, my read on Sam was different. I saw him as super smart and deeply sensitive. As a result, he constantly leaned away from people and our large energies, or he crowded us. When you took him from his paddock, he looked back towards the safety of other horses. When working with people, his focus was always away. My spidey sense said there was a whole other horse hiding somewhere inside the polite until you ask too much equine face the Clydesdale presented to humans. Since I was a volunteer at Healing Reins, I could only work with Sam once a week. My first challenge was to get him to acknowledge my presence. I took a deep dive into Warwick's connection videos in order to begin to get attuned with Sam. So, I started by just hanging out with him. At the time, I was in field work to get certified as a Masterson Method equine bodyworker, and I practiced on Sam using Masterson techniques to create relaxation and connection. Whenever I brought him out of his paddock, I matched steps with him. I scratched him until he flicked an ear my way, then I stepped back and said, "I saw that." I practiced what Warwick calls creating connection through a change of focus. I stood at the far end of the outside arena, Sam resolutely facing away from me, and started taking slow steps towards him. When he flicked an ear my way, I stopped and took a couple of steps back. If he glanced at me, I stepped back. These connection techniques told the big gelding, "Yes, I saw you see me." What is mind-boggling and pretty embarrassing is to tell you I did all that stuff with Sam and it worked, but I didn't get it. Over the weeks, Sam started relaxing really deeply in my presence. He dropped his head, he'd start drooling, he'd yawn and yawn. In the arena work, he'd go lie down and roll, doze off. These are all classic signs of his nervous system completely resetting and becoming regulated with me close to him. And I was psyched. But he'd still look away from me. He'd always go back to staring over the fence at his buddies, because I wasn't yet regulated. I'd been working with Sam for a few months, and things were going pretty well. But in his job at Healing Reins, Sam started nipping. The staff said he wasn't happy at the mounting block, and had begun planting his feet and refusing to move and getting snappy. One morning, as he and I were working on active leading, which is a way of walking together where my energy and forwardness encourages the horse to move willingly with me rather than being dragged along or charging ahead, Sam reached out and nipped my bare arm and drew blood. I shrieked and whirled on him. I was pissed. I was bleeding, and I wanted to punch him, which I had vowed never, ever to do to another horse. And Sam flinched away, and I dropped my fist, and I grabbed the lead rope, and we walked a few more feet, and then my little voice told me I needed to get honest with him. So I stopped, and I faced him, and I burst into tears, and I said, "You hurt me. I am so mad right now, and I'm so sad, and I can't figure this out. I don't know what I'm doing wrong." And I cried, and I cried, and I felt like I was the biggest failure of any horse person ever born, ever. And Sam just looked over my head at the barn. And when I was done crying, we went back to work. And at the end of that session, Sam agreed to move from a lifted hand on the lead rope and walk around me in a beautiful circle, something he'd never been willing to do before. And we go from our worst moment to one of our best within 20 minutes. And when I thought about it later, I realized I had finally gotten fully 100% coherent with Sam in my emotions, in my words, and my actions. I'm a writer. Writing is what I do for my living. And usually writing is a way for me to come to understand more deeply what's going on in my world. I write to learn what I know. I'm sure you have already recognized the problem, but it took writing to tell me I was putting pressure on the horse. Unconsciously, I had made my work with Sam all about me. At some level, I believed Sam should have recognized my deep care for him, my insights into his hidden self. I was better at seeing him than any other human at the barn, and Sam should have seen me as someone special, someone he could turn to, someone he could trust. Sam should see me. Every week he felt emotional pressure as I strove to make him trust me in order to confirm my own self-worth. Sammy quietly refused that job, and we went around and around with my ego and my need wordlessly shouting at him, "Find me worthwhile!" When I finally stepped back and pondered the situation I'd unwittingly created with the horse, I began to see Sam as my guru. He was my mirror. He reflected back perfectly what I did not want him, or myself, or anyone to see. He showed me my ongoing inner tension and belief that I was not enough. Sam told me I still had work to do to love and accept myself just as I am. My name is Katrinahays. I'm a writer and a rider and a Masterson Method practitioner. And this is Sam, who is a teacher. Thanks for watching.